You have already learned that the process of resident visa takes anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks on average. And it's not a wonder that very often business people like you cannot stay all the 30 or 45 days in a row without leaving the UAE. Very often you need to go on business trips unexpectedly, and already next day you shall be attending an event in the other part of the world. We know very well what the life of businessmen looks like. And in this chapter, we want you to learn how you can best manage your travel schedule once you prepare to apply for a UAE resident visa. First of all, let us remind you what we said before. In many cases, you can apply for a resident visa from outside of the country. To be more precise, there are 3 zones in Dubai and Abu Dhabi which accept all documents for visa application in scanned copies, and you receive from them electronic entry permit, allowing you to enter the country. So no need to be physically present in the UAE at this stage particularly. In Northern Emirates, registration authorities also often process applications relying on scanned copies, but entry permit is most of the time issued in hard copy. Since a hard copy needs to be delivered to the airport of arrival, you can either avail of a special entry permit drop-off service from registration authority at a certain fee, or you can engage services of a business consulting or a PRO firm. This way or the other way around, you can complete the first step of application from abroad. As such, if you do not need to be during this time in the UAE, leave the UAE before you apply, go in peace on your business trip, apply for resident visa once you left the UAE already, and come to the country when entry permit is issued. Magic, you may say? No, but we just saved around 10 to 15 days you could have stayed in the UAE waiting for your entry permit to be issued. You might have noticed it yet, you might have not noticed it yet, but you just saved other 3 to 5 days on a visa status change. Do you remember our example with tourist visa? We mentioned that if you come to the UAE on a tourist visa and you later need to apply for your resident visa inside the country once entry permit is issued, you need to submit it along with your original passport for visa status change, from a tourist to a resident, and the process takes 3 to 5 days. For a businessman, it is very often too long and you already need to fly somewhere. As such, if you apply for a resident visa from outside of the UAE, you saved 3 to 5 days and skip the step of visa status change. You just arrive once your entry permit is issued and go straight to do a medical Emirates ID and medical insurance if the latter is required. But what if I applied for a UAE resident visa when inside the country, you may ask? Say you are on a visit visa or a tourist visa and you applied for a resident one. Is there any time frame when you can travel if need be? Although there is no much flexibility in regards to this, still yes, you can travel, and now we'll explain when exactly. Again, let's repeat. If you are inside the UAE applying for a resident visa, it means you initially arrived in the country using your tourist or visit visa, or you had a previous resident visa from employee, if you were employed before. Regardless of what visa you currently hold, even if it is a cancelled employment one, once the entry permit is issued, you have 2 options. Either to proceed with visa status change and wait 3 to 5 days, which should not be a problem if you do not plan to travel, or leave the country and return to the UAE after your trip. In the last case scenario, you will not need to change the status, as it will be changed automatically in the immigration system the moment you present entry permit at the UAE airport passport control upon your return. As such, if you are watching this chapter and you already applied for your entry permit and you urgently need to travel, wait till entry permit is issued, take it and leave. However, remember that entry permit is valid for 60 days only, so this time frame is given to complete all formalities with your resident visa. And finally, the most important part, you won't be allowed to leave the UAE for travel if your visa status change has been completed. In other words, the moment you receive your passport after the visa status change in 3 to 5 days, you are no longer allowed to travel until you complete the process of resident visa stamping. So now you see that there are generally 3 ways of cutting time on getting a UAE residency. Let's summarize them. You can apply from outside the country. Firstly, this way you save 10 to 15 days waiting for the issuance of entry permit outside of the country. Secondly, you do not need to apply for visa status change and spend other 3 to 5 days awaiting your passport return when you come to the UAE using your entry permit. And in case you applied for a resident visa, being inside the country, you can still leave the UAE after your UAE entry permit is issued, but your visa status change has not been completed yet. This is 3. And again, a reminder from us. As soon as your visa status change is completed, it is not possible to leave the country until the process of resident visa stamping is completed. Again, although the resident visa application procedure seems to be very straightforward, there are still so many queries as to when one can travel throughout the resident visa application process. We hope we helped you to shed some light on the subject, and now you will be able to plan your trips with a greater degree of flexibility.